Outside smell good now. Sweltering hot outside, which means two things. Number one, I'm hiding out in my basement. Number two, I'm wearing less clothes than usual. So today, I'm going to tell you the story of my tattoos. This is my very first tattoo. I got it when I was 20 years old, just newly married and brand new out of the house, and I pretty much thought that the world could kiss my ass. I fully recognize the irony of getting a Jesus tattoo as a kiss my ass to the world, but it's a habit that I'm glad I've kept over the years. Plus, the Jesus fish is backwards, so that was well thought out. This is my second tattoo. I got it right before I went on a missions trip to Montreal about 5 years after the first tattoo. Missions trips are basically Christian vacations or spiritual tourism. You go to some place, you help them out a little bit, you get a fun trip out of it, and you feel good in the process. It was the first and only missions trip I actually really ever went on, but I still wanted to be this edgy youth pastor, so I figured getting a brand new tattoo was a way to do it. After that, there was a really long break where I didn't get any tattoos, partially because I didn't have the money for it, and partially because I didn't really know what I want. I had this idea that tattoos had to specifically mean something. They had to be really special and really meaningful, and they had to have deep significance. Both of my first tattoos were really deeply connected to my spirituality at the time, and so as time went on, I didn't really have anything that was that meaningful to me that I wanted to get it tattooed on me, and I had this idea that it had to be really meaningful and important. It wasn't until about a year ago that I went from being a person that had a few tattoos to being a tattooed person. And the big shift for me was looking at my tattoos that I had, realizing that I didn't really have the beliefs that I did way back then, but at the same time, they still meant something. That just because they didn't mean the same things that they meant when I got them, didn't mean that they were meaningless. They were still part of my story, and they still said something important about me. And that made me want to get more ink that said something about me now. This was the first one I got, and I just sort of went down the arm from here. The hold fast was sort of a way to remind me that life is going to come at you, and no matter what, you just got to keep going and hold on to the rigging, no matter what storms come at you. This was the next one, and it's actually probably my favorite of all the tattoos, and I don't even get to see it because it's on the back of my arm, so it's more like a gift to the world, I guess. It's probably the most beautiful piece that I have on me, I think, and it's, I don't know, just knowing it's there is special for me. Then here I got Jim. This is Jim Reaper here. It's a brother of the Grim Reaper. Less employed, but still pretty popular. He kind of picks up the slack when things get busy. Then came the Eagle and the Snake. This guy right here was actually a spur-of-the-moment tattoo. It was Halloween. The apprentice of the guy that I usually go to was there, and he was doing up some Halloween flash, and he said, "Hey, when are you going to let me tattoo you?" And I said, "Now seems good," and I got the tattoo. I actually kind of love that. I love that story. Then the Dragon's Claw, this big, gorgeous thing right here in the ditch. It felt so good. Deep, deep meaning behind this one. I had a big gap in my arm, and that was the best filler for it. I haven't actually showed you my favorite tattoos of all yet. I got them right in the middle when I was getting the rest of my arm done. And they were the ones that actually meant something to me. As I was getting the tattoos and thinking about sort of where I had come from and where I was going, I really started to think about journey. And I really started to think about how much had changed from when I was a minister to now being a sex educator, and how, like, really I'm doing the same thing in some ways, just in a really different way. And so I got my sparrows. One right there at the start and one right there at the end. My life has been a really fun journey, and the tattoos in some ways are just decoration for me. I like the way they look. I like being a person with tattoos, but it's almost like the stories of why I got them and when I got them themselves are just as important as any meaning that could have come from tattoos anyway. I'm actually hoping to start on this arm this summer. Probably take you along with me for that one. I have an appointment booked. Who knows? Maybe I'll have time to get something on my arm while I'm on vacation here. It's sometimes the barn just needs painting, you know? And that, my friends, is the story of my tattoos. told you it was hot.